What's up? Scuzzy Eye here. Now there's been a couple discussions on the ReasonTalk.com forum about how to free up space in a Reason file with recorded digital audio. Now it took me a little extra time to put this together because I was investigating a couple of little quirks here and there with the way Reason handles digital audio, and I wanted to point those out to you as I go along. Now this is pretty typical of what you would see if you've imported a stem from a remix pack or something you've bounced to disk yourself. There are the portions where there are no audio, and then the actual recording, then another space without audio, some more recording, and then an empty space to the end of the track. Now I say no audio, but this is one thing I want you to make note of here. It'll make sense a little bit later, but look at the big meter here, and when I play, even though there appears to be no audio here, there's a very low level signal. This is what you would see if there's dither included in the bounced track. It's inaudible, but it is present in the track. It's there to keep the quantization noise from interfering with an actual signal where there is some. Now for the first quirk. This is going to be important if we're going to be comparing file sizes later on. These stems, they're from a remix package. I won't say what it is because I'm not actually going to be playing the audio. It's just here for demonstration purposes, so there shouldn't be any copyright issues. But they were bounced at 44.1 kilohertz 24-bit. Because I'm making a video and recording the audio live, I'm recording this at 48 kilohertz. So my Reason session is currently running at 48 kilohertz. So if I go and bounce this to a new recording and delete the unused recordings, I'll show you more details about this later. Just because I'm a little OCD, I'm going to rename this to remove the bounced word. Who's that? Then I will save this as, instead of 44, 48. Let's compare some file sizes. Now this is the WAV file, which was the original part of the remix package, and this is the Reason document that I had open at the very beginning of the video. All I did was import this WAV file into it, but you can see that the file size of the Reason document is quite a bit larger than the original WAV file. I took this WAV file and compressed it into an MP3. You can see it saved quite a bit of space. And this is a Reason document where I imported this MP3 into it. You can see that the 44.1 kilohertz MP3 and the 44.1 kilohertz WAV file are pretty much the same size. They probably differ in bytes, but this is showing you in K. So they, for all intents, they're the same size. I then resampled this WAV file up to 48 kilohertz and turned it into an MP3. I then created a Reason document using that 48 kilohertz MP3 and saved it to this file. Finally, this is the Reason file that I saved a moment ago that was created by bouncing the imported 44 kilohertz wave and then deleting the unused recording. You can see this file is actually larger than the one that was saved before that, which was what I was getting at. Even when you bounce a recording, the new recording is made at the sampling rate that your Reason project is currently working. So this is going to be the basis for all of our comparisons, because it's the base size for a 48 kilohertz recording. And that brings me up to this last WAV file, which is a 32-bit export at 48 kilohertz, which is approximately the same size as this Reason document. The Reason document's about 800K larger because of the overhead of just the Reason settings and everything else that's contained in it. But it's basically the same size as a 48 kilohertz 32-bit wave. So let's go back into Reason and see if we can make this file a little bit smaller. First, I'll switch over to the razor tool. Chop there, chop there, chop there, and I'll show you. Let's zoom in here, just make sure that the chop is not going to hit any audio. You can see it has faded out there. So go back to the razor, chop, zoom back out. So take that back to the beginning of the file, and I'll switch over to the eraser. Erase that, and that, and back here. So let's go File, Save and Optimize. And let's see how much space we saved. Nothing. The file is exactly the same size. And this is where some people were getting confused. They think, well, I just deleted that stuff. Why hasn't my file gotten any smaller? Well, let me show you. One thing that Reason has is non-destructive editing. So if I chop here, erase this, and then go select this and pull it back out, you can see the audio didn't actually go anywhere. It was just the representation in the sequencer that was changed. So how do we make these deletions permanent? Well, if you take and select your two pieces here and then bounce them to new recordings, you'll see a little symbol has shown up here in the bottom that indicates there are actually multiple recordings and one is not in use. So if we go select these again and delete unused recordings, and just saying that they're unused recordings, let you know that you're actually going to lose something now. This actually was a destructive change. Now when we go File, Save and Optimize, you can see the file size has shrunk considerably. So that's actually what you have to do to remove unused audio or silent audio from within a Reason file. But let's have a look at a couple other things here. So if I select both of these again and join them, now I got a different symbol here. This is indicating that there are multiple recordings and different pieces of each one is used, rather than being one continuous recording and one unused recording. So what happens if, let's make note of this size here, 82K. What happens if I save and optimize that? It should get a little larger because there's this section here, right? Exactly the same size, nothing changed. So what's going on? If we actually go into, let's take this up to full screen here and blow this up and find the silent portion. Then we zoom out and see here. There's a special comp track here called silence that's being used in this section. This actually does not take up any space in a Reason file. So if I go out of the editor and extend this recording to the very beginning, and again save and optimize, also no change in this file size again, and look at this, you can see it's shown slightly differently. It's now seems like it's part of the audio, but it's really not. I'm not sure why it's not indicating the silence row, which would be a little more obvious about what was going on, but maybe it's only between clips that it uses the silence track. So let me show you one more thing now. So we have this track that has the comp rows combined together, and it's been extended to the full length. Actually, let's make it full length that it originally was. Let's see what that looks like at the end, if it actually uses a silence row. No, see, the silence row must only be used between clips, because that clip's extended with what is not actually a silence row, but there is no audio in it. So what happens if we were to bounce this to a new recording and look in the comp editor how that's displayed? And we have one that's comprised of the silence and the two clips, and then this one that is now in use isn't using the silence. This is actually recorded silent audio, but it is being represented as a signal rather than as nothing in the file. And that is one way you can see, apparently, is the silent recorded audio has a line, whereas the silent space that's not actually being recorded to disk does not actually have a line indicating the 0 volt signal. So 3 recordings, the 2 clips, and this full length clip here that's running the entire length of the track. So if I go and delete the unused recording, it's just going to remove those 2 other clips, and we're back to 1. So what happens when we save and optimize now? So now you can see it's back up to the full size. It's the same size basically same size as any of the 48 kilohertz files that are this length. And if I go back, and I want to show you the one other thing, the silence that was in the file before, now whenever I play, let me try to get this thing back the way it was. Now whenever I play the beginning of the file, you can see there is actually no audio signal at all. There's not even the little dither pattern that was there before, because I had trimmed out the dithered silence and replaced it with true silence. So basically, if you want to save space in your reason file, you need to trim out the silent portions of the recorded audio, and then erase these sections. Select the clips and bounce them to new recordings, and then delete the unused recordings. Then save and optimize the file. And that will get you the smallest possible file. So thanks for checking out my video. I'm Scuzzy Eye, and until next time, goodbye.